The oldest human in room 12 had an assault knife in his pocket and used it to cut thread. I was 9 months old, so I wrote that in my school report. Teacher crossed out assault and wrote buttonhole. I crossed it back. The blade was sharp, and Mr. Abel Morrow had carried it through 3 scanners inside a tin of collar buttons. Room 12 was where the Accord placed children nobody wanted near windows. We were the worst class. Biters, fire starters. Me, because I broke a counselor's breathing mask after he called my clutch number instead of my name. The galaxy sent us to Earth as proof that humans were too soft to survive us. Humanity sent one grandfather with a folding stool, a cloth roll, and biscuits shaped like small moons. Our uniforms were gray and tight at the throat. Officers said thick cloth taught discipline. Mr. Morrow saw red rings under our collars and made a noise through his nose. "You can't teach a child while the shirt is winning," he said. He sat on his folding stool and opened the cloth roll. Needles, thread, thimbles, A-flat ivory gauge with human numbers rubbed nearly smooth. The command officer, Saz, told him we were not there for crafts. "Good," Mr. Morrow said. "Crafts are for people with clean tables. This is repair." Saz ordered obedience training. Mr. Morrow asked for the loudest student. Everyone pointed at Braca. Mr. Morrow handed him a needle. This is the part my childhood report made too funny. I wrote, Braca feared the needle. He didn't. Braca feared being seen trying. Mr. Morrow did not praise him. Adults always praised us like knives placed carefully on a shelf. Thumb behind. Pinch, don't strangle. Cloth pulls if you bully it. Braca stabbed his sleeve and snarled. "See, Mr. Morrow said, the sleeve is winning." He taught us running stitch on scrap strips. The room smelled of hot wool, floor polish, and blue disinfectant. Rill threaded her needle faster than anyone. Saz paced by the door, avoiding the yellow line that meant student space. Into his collar bead, he said the human was wasting the hour before activation. I wrote that word down because it sounded like a festival lantern. Mr. Morrow told us to turn our collars outward. Wires were inside. Little black veins sewn under seam tape, crossing at pulse points where our bodies made heat. Rill stopped breathing through her mouth. My eldest grandson had shirts that scratched, Mr. Morrow said. He'd rather fight the breakfast chair than say so. He gave us red thread. "Put your name on the inside," he said. "If strangers own the outside, start where they can't see." I thought he meant decoration. Saz saw the first wire lifted from the seam. He drew his shock rod. Mr. Morrow looked at us, not Saz. "When cloth fights you, ask where it's being pulled from." Rill found the knot under her shoulder. Braca found his at the throat. I found mine under the label where my clutch number had been printed in heat ink. My name, Nolly, took 9 crooked stitches. Activation began as a sound too high for adult ears. Every child in room 12 grabbed their collar. Outside, the assault line opened its gates. The worst class was supposed to run first, make humans hesitate, and clear the soft places for the armies behind us. Send the difficult children. Call it justice. Saz shouted the trigger phrase. A few of us stood. The wires warmed under the seams. My vision went red, not with anger, with instruction. Mr. Morrow opened the buttonhole knife and placed it on the floor, blade facing himself, handle toward us. "Small cuts," he said. "Don't cut skin if cloth will do." Rill sliced the knot at her shoulder and dropped so hard her forehead hit the desk. Then Braca. Then the twins. Then me, sawing at the label until the heat ink split through my old number. Saz crossed the yellow line. Braca threw him the needle. Not hard, just accurately. It pinned Saz's sleeve to the door seal long enough for Rill to hit the lock with the ivory gauge. The classroom sealed. Earth did not win that yard with guns. The armies outside waited for children to break the line. We didn't go. We sat on the floor with our collars open, passing the little knife from hand to hand. Mr. Morrow checked each cut. His hands shook. He hid them by sorting buttons into bottle caps. The humans outside saw the command gates jammed with officer signals and refused to fire into the school wing. On my world, a blocked attack path was burned clean. Mr. Morrow took attendance on the biscuit receipt. Nolly, Rill, Braca, the twins, whose names had been replaced so often they argued over spelling. One by one, our names went onto paper nobody could command. This is where my old homework ended. Mr. Morrow was nice and gave us sewing. My teacher wrote in the margin, "Try again. Tell what changed." So I am trying again, students. I am older now than Mr. Morrow was then. My throat still shows a pale half ring when the weather turns cold. In this school we keep needles in unlocked tins, which frightens visiting ministers. Good. Every child here learns 2 stitches before history, running stitch, because escape sometimes has to be neat, backstitch, because name should hold. At his funeral, Earth asked for a speech about bravery. I brought my first collar label, split through the number, with Nolly sewn crooked on the inside. I laid it in his open hand. The cloth did not pull anymore.